Anyway, I sat down to edit this video and realized that I probably missed a clip or deleted a clip, but the story with this thing is we got it in. As soon as I aired it up, it had a leak. I tried. I probably broke it. I rebuilt the whole engine assembly, matching O-rings up with what was there and what rebuild kit I had. And then after that, it started like farting. Like the bolt would force forward and start farting. I thought somehow I blew the solenoid up. So I bought a replacement solenoid. We swap it in. That's where this starts. And then we reverse engineer what was wrong in the first place. I made a new problem, so I think I made it worse. But I fixed the leak that it had in the first place. So I don't know. But this video is a mess. I cut a ton of stuff out, and I hope you enjoy. So this is a $250 Shocker amp, I guess. As you can hear, it's got a leak. I'm going to put a couple rounds through it and see if that makes the bolt reseat or something, but I doubt it. I just unboxed it, and this is what it's doing. So that's going to be this episode of Cheap Paintball Marker of the Week. All right, we got the old solenoid out. Let's go ahead and swap this new one in. I got this from Curated. I hope it works. The last thing I got from them was no good, but they took care of it, so like good on them. But this thing has been what looks like disassembled. And if this works, then I'll put an eye in it, because I broke the eyes last time I had this apart. So there's supposed to be a spool valve in here. That's what is missing in mine, from what I understand. Or that's why it won't play nice anymore. It's nice to include that screw. Where's that other one I had? There it is. Yeah, basically, when I got this, had a leak down the barrel and the bolt would push forward, and then I fixed the leak, and then the bolt started like jackhammering in place, which I didn't think was correct. I can say pretty confidently that it's not correct, and no matter what I did, I could never get it to kind of work correctly. So I bit the bullet and bought a new solenoid assembly. Because from what I could gather, that's something wrong with the actual spool. It may be the spool in the solenoid. It may be there's something in here. I feel like there's supposed to be like a shuttle type of thing in there, but I could be wrong. Fortunately, with no eye wires to deal with, this is fairly easy to take apart. So I'm going to get the grip frame off, or back on, and we'll go from there. I think that is our bolt speed adjustment, so we're going to leave that where it is, and hope they didn't touch it when they took this apart. Getting this connector in is always a little tricky. Yeah, maybe if I take the battery out, I have a little more space. People act like working on paintball guns is hard. I think this kind of shit is the hardest part, is like manipulating these tiny wires into the correct orientation and then trying to plug them in with like, really what I need is a pair of tweezers. But even then I can't manipulate the the connector the way I need to. And it's like, oh yeah, like I don't want to bend these pins, and they put safety locks in them because they don't want them to pop out while you're playing, which makes sense. But then when you go to pull them out, you're in such a weird position trying to get them out that it's easy to break the connector or pull the wire out of the connector. Like right here, it's like, yeah, I basically just push that in by the wire. That is not good. But I didn't have any other options, really. So, why are you not clicking together? That's that thing. Let me go ahead and get this grip frame in place, and then we'll pick it back up. Moment of truth. It's doing the exact same thing. Sweet. It's not even on. So I guess now we know it wasn't the solenoid. On to the next thing. But yeah, it just kind of farts. And I don't understand why. So that's definitely frustrating, because I either just bought a solenoid for no reason, or that one was also bad. And the fact that it shipped basically like this one did, where it's disassembled, I know they can do that. If there's a valve in here, like a little spool, that doesn't, it probably fell out and it's not going to work anyway. On to the next one. Alright, I'm determined to figure out what's going on with this thing. So I looked at the diagram and tried to figure out what exactly is going on airflow wise with this system here. So we're going to see what we can figure out. I feel like maybe something internally is not sealing right, and that's pushing the bolt forward. And maybe it's these two O-rings. I saw some other people say the tip O-ring, but I think that's fine. That looks correct. I don't know what replacements I have for these. They do look a little small for the like tail of that bolt there. I almost wish I had another one so I could compare, because I don't know what's been done to this thing. I don't know who's had their hands on it. I can use those O-rings that are there to compare, but we don't know if they're correct, right? The O-ring kit I bought did not come with labels. And even if it did, it doesn't look like there's anything in here that would even be close to that shape. But this is for an RSX. So the air is coming in and then pushing forward through here. Does this split too? Yes, okay. There's a seal in there. Is there a seal down in there that I can't see? Can we take this off somehow? Probably not. Not easily anyway. Oh, look at that. Looks like there is an O-ring there, but I don't think that's just preventing it from leaking out the back. And then yeah, there's nothing in there. So this just slides in there, in this back cap, basically. Oh yeah, and then that little blue thing is the rear bumper for that. So that goes there. Basically, this threads in here. That's basically how this works. And then that's your bolt stop. So then this. Something like that. And it's going. And this is ultimately holding it in place. I'm just thinking out loud here so you can try to figure out how exactly it's working. It's going. Which that really makes me feel like the solenoid is not in the correct position. Or like the polarity is reversed. Those look like inside the... Yeah, there's just air ports in there. Not actually anything else going on. I'm going to research an O-ring diagram and see if I can get measurements on the O-rings that it mentions. So anyway, I found the culprit. I was a little surprised, but I think my rebuild kits were either pilfered already or missing some parts or something else. But I ended up going through and basically just trying to find what smart parts used, like what size O-ring, and then cross-referencing it to another kit. So I have that kit from the DM6 we have, the Master O-ring kit. And I just looked up those sizes and we were able to kind of replace them until it worked. So we replaced this bolt tip O-ring. They looked like they were the same size. We replaced the tail O-rings too. They also looked like they were the same size. But the one that I think actually got us was this one in here, inside this little donut thing. And I am very surprised about that. But I replaced it with that blue O-ring. The one that was in there didn't look bad. It was this one. It just didn't work. So when I aired this up last time, the bolt stuck forward for a second and then it kicked back into position. And I said, oh, well, that's a good sign. So maybe the solenoid was stuck and now it's unstuck. I don't really know, but I'll air it up and we'll shoot it. I'm gonna have to get eyes for it, but we can do that next. Let's see if this thing makes me look like a liar or not. It did. So something is definitely up because it worked a second ago. I will review this and figure. We're going to change another O-ring. It's so strange to me that it worked once. I dry fired it a bunch in here. And it was loud, but it was working. It wasn't leaking. Everything seemed okay. It's just very strange to me that I air it back up and then it immediately starts leaking again. Exactly like it did before. That looks like it. I didn't even compare these. Let me grab another one for a comparison. I don't like that. I don't like that at all because that's much bigger. Maybe that'll help. That kind of feeds back into my theory that like something is sticking, right? And there's really only one valve in this entire system, and that is the solenoid itself, right? So if something is going to stick, that is probably what's sticking, right? And normally I would be much more... Now that feels way better. So now I can feel resistance pulling the bolt out. Like it's working like a valve. Like it wants to return to its resting position in the back. But what I was saying about the lube, there's so much grease on this thing that the residual is probably enough. Let's see. Hey, look at that. Nice. Let's degas it. Gas it back up. Hey. Well, I think we fixed it. Cool. Now, let's shoot it with no eyes, just as nature intended. Well, the DM6 from yesterday is any indication of how this is going to go. This is going to be brutal. I think it's just so cold. This paint can't hang. Yeah, DM did the exact same thing yesterday. But yeah, contrary to popular myth, paintballs don't really freeze without, you know, liquid nitrogen or dry ice or something. So that blend fest was to be expected, but I'm just glad this thing works. It was really frustrating me. I didn't want to throw the parts cannon at it, but that just seemed to make the most sense to me. But I'm glad it's actually fixed. So thanks for watching, and I hope this helps somebody else in the future.